Did you know that 92% of New Year's resolutions end up failing? Don't be that guy. So stick around for this video where we're going to show you what to do instead so that you can maintain and achieve the goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year. I'm Brit and this is Chris Carmichael, and together we have founded the Elevated Life series where we teach you these simple mindset shifts to create radical transformation in your life. And we know with the start of 2020 and a brand new decade, everyone's feeling like they're ready for change, but they don't exactly know what to do. And when it comes to the unknown, we have so many fears that stop us from actually taking the action aligned with our goals and intentions. So we're going to share four techniques with you today on how to stick to your resolutions and not fail like the other 92% of people who set their goals.
Yeah, it's almost disheartening because I feel like almost everybody I know, every blog I've seen, every YouTuber out there is talking about what their New Year's resolutions are. And it's weird that we've spent so much time, and it's such a tradition, grabbing these guys when, like Britt said, such a huge percentage of it never works out. And so we constantly repeat every year a process that doesn't work. And then we wonder several months down the road, like, what, you think is it me? How come it wasn't working? Well, it's because it doesn't work in general. And it's so important to get out of the way of the things that don't work. You have to start deciding, you know what, if everyone else is doing it and everyone else is not succeeding, I'm going to take a little bit of a different path, and I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach. And this is something we realized a while back. And it's this different approach and this different mindset angle that will allow you to actually accomplish what you want on autopilot. The truth is, you don't need resolutions. You need something different.
Yeah, you need to build the habit and the personal belief that this is the new you. So we're going to share those tips on how to do it. You know, a few months ago, we talked about how to end your last 90 days with intention. And so many people, like Chris said, are opposite of what we have to share. It's hustle, 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 go, go, go. And we're all about the flow. And like Chris said, you can do it. You can achieve your goals without even trying if you set up the foundation right. We know that structure and self-discipline and motivation are something that people struggle with when going after their big dreams or even their health goals or their relationship goals, which is why we're covering that inside the Elevated Life Membership Club this month. So let's dive into the first thing that you can do so that you don't fail like the 92% of other people.
That's a lot.
That's a really high percentage, okay? So 92% of New Year's resolutions fail. Why?
Yeah, so why?
Why?
Well, I think that the biggest reason is that, and we've talked about this a million times on here, is the fact that your subconscious mind doesn't understand the difference between what you imagine and what you're actually experiencing in real life. So what we do is we make New Year's resolutions and then we go tell everybody about them. We tell our friends, we tell our family, we order some of the books on Amazon, we go buy the running shoes, we sign up for the gym or for yoga or whatever it is the case. But what ends up happening is that every time we talk about it and every time we think about it in the future, our body releases dopamine. It says, ooh, you did a good job. Hey, you did a good job. But you're not actually accomplishing anything. Our body is designed to reward us. And so if we're picturing our future and that's rewarding, it will give us that little bitty trickle of those chemicals that we absolutely love to have. Mm-hmm. And what ends up happening is we never actually take action because our brain said, ooh, I want to reward you in the exact same way that I would reward you if you'd done it. Except we don't do it because all we've done is talk about it. Yeah. And so by the end of January, we've lost that motivation. We talked about it so much that we basically just run ourselves into the ground. And we decide, you know what? These habits that I've been doing for the past 20 or 30 plus years of my life is what I'm going to stick to. It's very difficult to change a habit unless you're massively intentional about it. And it doesn't start with what you talk about to other people. It starts with what you're doing on the inside, which is why our first tip, rather than deciding what you want to do over this next year, you have to decide who you want to be. And that's a totally different thing because the person who you want to be takes on different actions typically than the person that you are. And so when you decide that, the actions start to become more automatic. It's built into what you're already doing instead of you saying, well, I'm this, low down scoundrel, but here I'm going to do all these successful things at the beginning of the year. I'm going to be a totally different person. Well, that's what you've got to start focusing on. Who is it that you want to show up as this year.
Yeah, if you want different results, then you have to start showing up differently. And I remember many years ago when I was on this spiritual awakening journey, and I remembered saying to myself, I want to be a kind person. Like, I want to be loving, and I want to make people feel good. And I remember standing in line at Trader Joe's and looking at the woman behind me and thinking, I should purchase her, she had one item. I should purchase it. And it was the same thing I was buying. So it felt like we could open a conversation. And I had this clarifying moment for myself. And I asked myself, what would a kind person do right now? And that was the biggest shift for me, was realizing that we have to act differently. We can't just say we want to be nice and then continue to respond or react really out of like our old negative angry self, right? So I had to do something different. And it started with with the question, what would a kind person do? So if you're wanting to be more loving or more helpful or more spiritual or more successful or whatever the goal is for you, ask yourself, like, what would a blank kind of person do? What is the action step that I would do differently if I were showing up as this version that I want to authentically be?
Damn. Damn. It's, you know, it's when you put it that way, it sounds so simple, and truthfully it really is. It's not staying in what you've always done. It's asking yourself, what action would that person take, and then leading with that action, despite the fact that you're conditioned and your behaviors from the past may be something completely different. You maybe used to be doing something totally opposite of that. You maybe used to being rude or saying snarky remarks or being sarcastic or always bitching about everything. But now it's time to make those kinds of shifts.
Okay, by the way, say hello if you're here watching live. Let us know where you're watching from. And is this resonating with you? Are you someone who has set resolutions, didn't follow through, and are looking to make that change? Because if you set a resolution for yourself, you obviously had something in your life that you wanted to shift. Now it's just about having the plan to stick to that. Okay, comment here. That has helped me so much. I started using the who am I and actions that that person would do.
So powerful.
So for me, I said, I am a yogi, and what do they do? Go to yoga classes or read yoga books. Yes. Oh my gosh. And that actually is that's in alignment with one of the things we're going to share on today's tips on how to stick to those goals and resolutions. But the next tip is to purge. If you're going to show up as your authentic self or as this new version that you're moving into, then we have to let go and release all the things that are not, that are holding us back, that are still in alignment. Like, for example, when I was going on my health journey and losing 75 pounds, all of the fat girl clothes, I didn't hold on to with the belief that one day maybe I'll need them and I'm going to fit into them. That didn't align with the vision that I had for myself of being healthy and being a proportionate, healthy weight. And so I had to get rid of all the fat girl clothes that I had been saving and using, you know, whenever I would fall off the diet or the bandwagon. But I had to make a decision right there. So I went into the closet and I purged out all my fat girl clothes so that I didn't have a choice, so that I would not allow myself that, well, just in case I decide to eat extra brownies this weekend, I'm going to have these pants. No, this is not who I want to be, and it doesn't authentically align. So we've got to purge out things from the closet, things from our beliefs, our mindset, our emotions. There are things that you're going to have to let go of in order to be who you really want to be.
You know, you reminded me, there's something that I heard a long time ago, and it said, successful, burn the bridges. And they're not talking about being mean to people. It's talking about what Brit just said. Get rid of all the things that allow you to walk back in the other path. And so if you decided that health is your big deal or financial security is your big deal, you got to burn those bridges. You got to burn those, as Brit called them, fat clothes. The other part about purging is you have to remember that this is about every piece of your life. It's not just about a specific part. So you've got to go through your emails and unsubscribe from everybody. You got to go through your social medias and either unfollow or block or hide all the people that don't align with what you need to be doing. You say, is that version that I'm dreaming of myself, would they still have these same people in their life? Would they still spend their time and energy doing those things? Sometimes it's clients you have to purge. Sometimes it's friends. Sometimes it's family members. And it may just be for a short period of time. A lot of people get upset when we talk about, you know, purging friends on here, but it's true. Sometimes you need a little bit of a break to recalibrate, to remember what it is that you're working on. And so you got to take a little distance, and you can always lap back around and say, hey, I just wanted to make some changes in my life. I'm doing some new things for me. And so make sure that you're on that big purge thing. It is about the closet. It is about the foods in your pantry. It is about the things that you spend your time doing. Are you wasting your time every night just watching TV when you could be doing whatever it is, starting that new business, getting that side hustle going. So make sure you're purging yourself, because you can't jump into who you want to be still carrying all the baggage and habits and time vampire sucks that you're carrying over the last year. It's going to take new shifts in time management. The biggest excuse we always see for people who don't meet their resolutions is, I don't have enough time. I didn't have enough time. But we all have the same time. It's all the same. We all have the same 24 hours. And so what you want to be doing is making sure your 24 hours is prioritized by doing the things that that specific person would do.
Yeah, and that leads us to another tip on how to stick to these goals, and that's to modify your routine, because what you do on a daily basis determines your life. Your habits are ruling your life, which is also another masterclass we've taught inside the Elevated Life, because we realize that our routines and our habits are the things that are dictating whether we're successful or not, or whether we feel like we have enough time. And that's also why we're teaching structure, discipline, and motivation this month at Elevated Life Club, because we know that once you figure out your habits and we get those squared away, we need to have some kind of structure and routine, because we all have the same 24 hours. Beyonce has the same 24 hours, and Chris Carmichael has the same 24 hours, and it's up to you to decide how you're going to allocate your time and your energy within that time frame to make the most of it.
Yeah, this is how you set up yourself automatically for success. This is what I absolutely love doing the most, is because, like Brit said, it's all in the habits. It's all in the rituals. It's all in the stuff that you're doing on a daily basis. Whatever you're doing regularly ends up becoming your life, because it has to do with your thoughts. It has to do with everything. And so if you want to make really big radical changes, all those changes happen inside your routine. It's not something that you just do once or something that you just do on the weekend or things like that. It's really modifying everything. So you say, you know what, how do I set myself up for the best success? How do I get my day started? How do I end my day? How do I end my work day? How do I enter my house in the same way, so that I can really achieve all those things that I want without having to think about it? Because once you have the routine nailed down, you just have to do it. So it's a matter of really getting clear on, again, that person who you want to be, getting rid of all of the crap that's no longer you, and then changing your routine enough so that you automatically become them, because they are you. The fourth thing that's really huge after you've modified your routine is to educate yourself. You need to constantly be improving whatever it is that you're doing by 1%. It doesn't take huge leaps. It just takes 1% over a consistent amount of time.
You know, and here's the thing, just like one of the comments said, like, I want to be a yogi. I'm a yogi. What do yogis do? Well, they go to yoga classes and they read yoga books. And what does that boil down to? Educating yourself. It's so important to educate yourself, because when you're moving into a new habit, a new routine, a new experience, new job, new anything, you have to learn something new. It's outside of our comfort zone. That's why we're afraid to step outside those boundaries, because we don't know it. We haven't learned it. But just like anything in your life, you had to learn it at one point. So everything you know now has been learned at some point, even though you've called it your comfort zone or your safety blanket. Here's the thing, you're going to have to learn something new if you want to make new happen in your life, if you want to change. So don't be afraid, or don't feel stupid that you don't know what to do. You don't know the next step. That is so common. And that's also a part of the learning process. Like diving in and being curious and starting from, you know, ground zero and screwing it up so that you can learn new things, trial and error, so you can figure out what works for you and what doesn't, because something perfectly laid out plan routine might work well for Chris Carmichael, but doesn't work well for Brittany Carmichael, right? So it's really about testing and experimenting and educating yourself on the areas that you're curious about, or the areas that will contribute to moving you along your goals closer to your big dream.
Yeah, a big bonus idea. So those are our 4 things for getting rid of solutions and starting to do things that actually work. This stuff has been working for us for years now. I'm so glad we dialed in on this method and have just been using it. I mean, we've been riding this horse really hard. And one of the bonus things that a lot of people forget about is to do the exact same thing in your friends or your family, people that are close to you, even coworkers. You want to ask them, who do you want to show up as this year? And then support them in that. Say, I want to help you. You know, whatever it is that you're facing and whatever it is that you want to change, wherever it is that you want to go, I want to help walk that path a little bit with you, because a lot of people on this journey feel alone because they're going to be doing things like uncomfortable. You know, new stuff's always uncomfortable. It's weird. It's different to be looking at something, and I've never done that before. I definitely could fail. That's what a lot of people get messed up on, is they say, oh, but what if I fail at this? Well, oh my gosh,
you will.
Yeah, get that right out of your mind. So it's going to be one of those things that you continuously fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. So get used to it. It's okay. We love it.
We fail our way to success around here.
Yeah, the faster I can fail typically means the closer I am to doing what it is that I actually want. And so be inspiring to other people. Ask them those kind of questions. Not just what do you want to do this year, because people always think about the same stuff. They think about fancy vacations, and that's great. I love going on vacations, but it's not your day-to-day stuff. Just like when you ask people, hey, what would you do if you won the lotto? They think about I buy this crazy car and I do all this crazy stuff. They don't talk about, like, what is it going to mean for you? Yeah. How are you going to start showing up? Are you going to be a better person? Are you going to be kinder? Because a lot of people won the lottery and they end up bankrupt and still hate their life. And so who is it inside internally? What's the internal change? Not what's the external stuff will come if you make the internal change. If you just do external and the internal stuff doesn't, then you end up still not liking your life, even though you've accomplished your goals. And I feel like that's one of the worst places that we can get in, because you thought that happiness was derived on something. You put all your eggs in that basket and then it didn't happen. So swap it. Work on that internal game this year.
Yeah, you make such a valid point that really we are teaching you all these things to do or to eliminate, to take action. But the biggest shift of all that's going to make the biggest difference is perspective. And one of the techniques that we teach either inside the Elevated Life or Shine School is the 24-hour game. And that's making a pie chart of all 24 hours and then blocking off the time on what would I do if I had the perfect 24 hours, what would I do to contribute to that day? Not like, you know, on, like Chris said, on a fancy ass vacation. Like, that's not a normal regular 24 hours. Your normal regular 24 hours. How much time would you sleep? What would be the first thing that you do when you wake up? Do you eat breakfast? You know, like, do you have a workout time block? Do you have a time block for work? Do you have a time block for self-care? Do you have a time block for intimacy? It's so important for you to break down your 24 hours and figure out, what would I be doing to contribute to the perfect day? And here's what we found, and we find to be common with most people, is once they actually break down their 24 hours and write out all the things that they want to be doing in their life, most likely you're doing over 50% to 75% of it already. It's just we don't have the mindset and the perspective to appreciate what we're already contributing and how that actually is something authentically aligned. You know, for me, I would wake up, I would drink some green juice, I'd do yoga, I'd spend time with my husband, then I'd go to work, and I wrote it all out, right? And I realized, oh my God, I'm doing all of those things. I'm just not appreciating and having the awareness and perspective to recognize, like, I am living my best authentic life. So a lot of your changes really are going to boil down to the mindset shift that you make about the time and energy you're contributing to your life.
Yeah, and as soon as you do that, and as soon as you realize where you're being drained, as soon as you realize what people in your life are draining you, what activities you're doing, the things that you're saying yes to that you really mean no, once you get crystal clear on that, and once you make that pie chart, you start to really be able to define who you want to be in life, because how we spend our time is who we end up becoming. And so once you get to a place where you know who you want to be, you've purged everything out, you've modified your routine, and then you've educated yourself and inspired the people around you, you've set yourself up for a great year. So maybe is it just, you know, doesn't that sound so much better than, hey, I want to lose 10 pounds? Or, hey, I just want to get a little more finances. Like, that's all that stuff's so vague. Like, I want to live a better life because of the things that I do on a daily and consistent basis. It's not just once I get the goal, I'll be happy. We have to build in things so that every day feels good.
Yeah, so it's not the goal, it's the feeling.
Yeah, so that whole journey that we're taking to get wherever it is that we're really trying to go is enjoyable. So many people go in the gym and hate it, and they spend hours in there and sweat, and it sucks, and they're sore and all that stuff. But if that's built in, if you know that that's part of the process, you don't mind it so much. You say, hey, I'm just on my journey and I'm enjoying it and I'm inspiring everybody else along the way. Your life starts to be different. It starts to be shiny and sunny more often than not. And you start to really take all of those beautiful gifts that you have inside, and you start giving them to other people because you've set yourself up as the person who naturally does that.
Yeah, when you have an abundance of love and care and confidence and courage and sparkly, shiny light, then you have an abundance to give. And that is honestly why we show up every Friday here on the Elevated Life series at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time to pour our love and wisdom into you, because we have set up our life and our beliefs and our habits to support the mission that we're on, and that is to awaken the world, to elevate the world, to bring more love, peace, and harmony back to this planet, people. Okay, so if you need some help bringing more love and more light and structure and discipline into your life, then I highly recommend you come hang out with us inside the Elevated Life Membership Club, because we will be talking about structure, motivation, and self-discipline, which are definite keys to being able to stay committed to going after your goals. Because let's face it, we can all start off strong for the first week, for the first day, and then there's going to be something that knocks us off of our routine or breaks our habit, and we need that kind of accountability to fall back on so that we don't just keep going down the spiral, that we actually know that we have support in our corner saying, oh, you ate that brownie today, don't worry about it. I hope you enjoyed the shit out of it. Now tomorrow, or actually your next meal is going to be, you know, some vegetables or something, right? So if you need accountability and support, please come hang out with us inside the Elevated Life. We appreciate all of your love and support. Tony says, I have to break down my day. OMG, I just heard about this. Actually, Tony, we will be doing this at the Goddess Gathering retreat in Destin in February. Oh my God, I can't believe it's like 40 days away. We'll be getting clear on our goals so that we have an entire roadmap of what we want to achieve for the next year. Ray says, how are y'all today? Oh my gosh, today and every day we are amazing. We are in love and shining bright, and so thankful to be here. Stacy says, our first Elevated Life live. Oh my God, Stacy, we are so excited you're gonna be there. Will Gerald be with us? I cannot wait. I love when couples come to the Elevated Life masterclasses live together. We even have couples that do date night and then watch an Elevated Life masterclass, because you can access all of our training from the last 2 years. We just celebrated 2 years today. Actually, this week is our 2-year Elevated Life Membership Club anniversary. So we started the club 2 years ago because we were going live every Friday here on Facebook, and so many people were saying, I want to learn more. I need to know more from you. Like, what are the next steps? And what we decided to do was actually guide you through multiple meditations within each masterclass so that you can create the subconscious changes and programming that you actually need to commit and stay consistent with those changes. So we are so excited. Stacy says, hell yeah. Rabbit says, I don't usually watch lives, but something told me to click on this. Man, I needed this so bad. Thank you so much.
Oh my God.
Thank you for being here. Trust your intuition. If you feel a nudge, follow it, because it will never lead you to the wrong place. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all your love and support. If you know someone who needs this message, please tag them in the comments below, share the video, and let us know which of the 4 that you're going to start with to stick to your resolutions. Is it deciding on who you want to be?
Is it purging?
Or educating yourself?
Or modifying your routine?
Yeah, these are the 4 tips on how to stick to your resolution and don't fail like the 92% of other people who are setting resolutions and not sticking with them. We love you so much. We cannot wait for everything that is in store for 2020. I can already feel it being super magical, and people's thoughts, I can feel like people's thoughts are manifesting so much faster this year. So keep your thoughts positive and really decide who you want to be and how you want to feel, because at the end of the day, it's how we feel about all the things that we're doing in our life. We could achieve all the biggest lofty goals in the world, but if we feel like shit, none of it matters, because our purpose is to feel joy. We'll catch you guys next Friday for the Elevated Life series at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And until then, we hope that you get clear on what it is you want to feel this year. All right, beautiful energy, great advice. Thank you again. You're welcome. I'm going to start watching on Fridays. Yay, thank you so much. Miss you guys. I used to watch you weekly. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming back. We are still here, still committed on our mission of elevating the world. Let's see, you are too beautiful inside and out. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate all the support. Hey, Stacia. Julia says she's going to work on modifying her routine, same as Anne. All right, perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.